Meu nome é Maria Tereza Umbelino, sou economista, empresária, coordenadora do BMV, Brasil Mata Viva, filha de produtor rural, que veio para a Amazônia na década de 80 e como os produtores, como as pessoas que vivem aqui, vieram atrás do sonho de produzir, de prosperar. É muito importante estarmos unidos e engajados. Não basta falar de uma Amazônia quando eu não conheço a realidade do povo da Amazônia. Então esse é o propósito do programa, demonstrar no mundo que a importância do trabalho do homem de conservar a natureza, porque é conservando a natureza que eu conservo a vida. E essa é uma realidade. A gente nasceu com este propósito, luta por esse propósito e com a ajuda da ciência nós conseguimos transformar esse benefício, graças à tecnologia também, nós conseguimos empacotar esse benefício, medir esse benefício e empacotando na forma da UCS, Unidade de Crédito de Sustentabilidade. A UCS é o fruto da floresta. A UCS, da mesma forma que você tem uma lavoura de café e vende o fruto daquela lavoura de café, da mesma forma é o nosso princípio, é a nossa proposta. Nós temos uma lavoura de floresta conservada e a lavoura de floresta conservada te entrega a UCS.
Maria Tereza, what a pleasure it is to be here at this very important conference sponsored by the ICC, which is Make Climate Action Everyone's Business, a very important theme for business, for governments, for society. In this session, in which we're going to talk about the challenge of environmental resilience and a sustainable financial solution, it brings me great pleasure to, as a member of the International Board of Brasil Mata Viva, BMV, to present a private sector solution which has proven effective in Brazil and which is now being brought to the world. I had the great privilege as a U.S. diplomat and as former U.S. ambassador to Brazil until just last year to work on these matters of great international importance, how to provide a sustainable solution which is going to both incentivize and motivate the private sector to be involved in climate solutions. The BMV solution, which has been created by our founder, Maria Tereza Umbelino, and her very skilled team, has offered Brazilian companies the opportunity to participate in conservation credits, which are protecting the Amazon and other delicate biospheres in Brazil in a way that is sustainable and in a way that is eagerly sought after by the landholders themselves. During this time together, we're going to hear from experts that have put together this very innovative program. And we're also going to hear from private sector representatives, such as Sustentec and Starbucks Brazil, and how this has been shown to be a very effective solution. I personally am very committed to this mission because I believe that the ultimate solution for conservation will come from the private sector. And by creating a for-profit solution, which is audited by companies like SGS and Ernst & Young to provide credibility to the evolution of this marketplace, this, I believe, is what is going to provide the conditions for a robust marketplace that will satisfy both the needs of producers and of companies to promote this conservation effort to which we are all committed. First, we are going to hear from our colleague, Luisa, from SGS, a company with which we have partnered with to have provided the auditing of the process itself and gives tremendous confidence and credibility to the process that BMV has developed. Luisa, over to you.
Hello, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here. I'm Luisa. I work for SGS in Brazil. I'll be talking to you about the sustainability credit units and ESG finance. Can you bring the slides, please? Okay, thank you. So just to give you a little bit of overview about what SGS does, we are the world leader of certification industry, the sector TIC, tests, inspection, and certification. SGS is based in Geneva, and we have been around since 1878. So it's a lot of history, doing all sorts of services, professional services, with auditing and being a certification body being one of the main ones. Today we have a lot of business units that are doing different things, and I work for the knowledge division, which is sustainability and certification services, and also working with ISO and other certification standards. So to give you a little bit about what we do in sustainability and what we have experiencing on, we have been working with environmental standards since the early 90s. And when sustainability started, it was mainly with environmental in the face, but afterwards, social aspects started to grow as well, and we started doing social report assurance and all kinds of sustainability assurance. And in the 20s, when the Kyoto Protocol was on, we were designated operational entity for the in the clean mechanism development, and we used to do a lot of carbon projects and verification projects. And since then, we have been working a lot with the climate change and verification programs, and now doing a lot of work on the voluntary carbon market as well. And we are also a sustainability leader. We have been recognized as one of the world's most sustainable companies by a lot of standards and recognitions. For example, we are on the Dow Jones Sustainability Indices, and we have been awarded the EcoVadis Platinum Award and other sustainability indices as well. So to talk about a little bit about the BMV standard, just 1 second. Continuing with the BMV standard, with all this experience that SGS has with sustainability and climate change projects, we have been working with BMV since 2 years ago and there's two main drivers for the BMV standard. The two main problems and issues that it means to work with and to solve. One of them is climate change, and the other one is ESG finance. So the BMV standard produces the UCS, which I will talk about a little bit afterwards. And it addresses both these issues. So there is this climate change approach when you're talking about carbon and being a resilience and climate change solving platform, and also addressing what the ESG finance market are needing. Yeah, so right now we have a lot of sustainability linkage bonds or ESG linkage bonds, not only green bonds, but other type of instruments that are connected with sustainability commitments. And as being a conservation project, BMV and the UCS can help and can connect this market. So about the methodology, what is the BMV standard? So BMV is a vertical project. It works with the scientific part, the methodological part, and also the business part. So BMV has developed a standard for quantifying and evaluate the forest ecosystem services. So this is the scientific part, right? And after that, they also developed how this is turned into a program, into a project. And after that, how the project can issue credits. So in the scientific part, in the beginning, is a forest inventory is conducted. And among other measurements, the carbon stock of a forest, of a native forest, is quantified. This it helps us, and it generates the UCS, the Sustainability Credit Units, that it's the conservation commodity. The UCS represent the services, the ecosystem services of the forest, and it also complies with guidelines from Paris Agreement, for example, because it's a way, it's an instrument to help in maintain the carbon reservoirs. So the credits represent the ecosystem services, and in a mechanism that it's payment for environmental services, the BMV allows for the remuneration of private and public property for the environmental services that they are providing to the road. So this actually allows forest conservation to become an economic activity, to be part of an economic matrix of a country like Brazil, for example. And it begins with the scientific part of quantifying the carbon, and it changes, it becomes the credits by which the forest and the activity of conservation can be can generate a revenue. So there's a few steps for the BMV application. The first one is when we're talking about the project. So before becoming the credit, before we have the sustainability credit units, we need to have a pre-assessment. We need to have a project that will have eligibility criteria, will have a sustainable development plan, and afterwards will be verified to issue a credit afterwards. So these are the basic steps for project development. The BMV group, as I said before, they manage the process vertically. So they manage the BMV application, the project development, and afterwards also the UCS credits transactions, right? So what happens is that a native forest land will be pre-assessed. A lot of eligibility criteria will be checked. For example, the legal aspects of the lands, and if the landowners, if they have everything right regarding the regulations. After that, a public hearing is conducted, because it is important that the local government, the local community, they are part of the project, right? So this is a very important step regarding the stakeholder consultation. After the public hearing, the forest inventory is conducted, the scientific part of the program, and also a development plan is established. So BMV will look for sources of development in the region, what kind of other economic activities can be incentivized with the money that will be generated with the credits afterwards. And then when all of this is validated and verified, the credits, UCS credits, are allowed to be issued. So this was the project aspect. Now I will talk a little bit about the methodology aspect of validating. This is what SGS is part of. This is the first step is the BMV standard application, which is the project that I already talked. And after this is validated by UNESP, which is a university from Brazil, SGS does the verification of the application. So we will verify the carbon stock quantification, we will verify the sustainable development plan application, the eligibility criteria, everything that BMV standards is sets in motion so that the project can generate UCS. After the UCS after it is verified, the UCS is ready to be issued, and BMV is also responsible for registering and having the platform by which the UCS will be transacted. And then we have, after all of this is set and the UCS is already on storage, in a digital storage, there is the forest credits trading systems. This is another part of our work as verification a body for the program. We verified each transaction to make sure that the credit is being purchased equivalent to the amount of the ecological footprint that a company is trying to compensate. So in one side, we have a company that wants to have an environmental and sustainability commitment, sustainability strategy, and they want to maybe access ESG finance, or they have this net zero journey that they are trying to accomplish, and they measure the ecological footprint. And on the other way, we have the credits that were issued from the forest projects. So we as SGS, we make sure that this is combined and there's no double counting afterwards. So these are the main ways that we contribute to the program. And what I want to talk a little bit about today as well is how the UCS can be a sustainability asset. So after all of this is done, we have the application, the project, we have all the verification and validation process that is completed. The UCS is ready to be sold, is ready to be compensated, be used as a compensation mechanism. And since October last year, Brazilian government, they established this federal decree, which is called CPR Verde, that we can call here as a bond that allows UCS to be sold as an agricultural product, an agricultural commodity. So these projects that we explained later, that they have all the eligibility criteria and they were quantified and the ecosystem services were measured to produce the UCS, they will be producing UCS in a yearly basis. And this is considered like a commodity from the forest. And because of this decree, UCS now can be sold in the Brazilian stock exchange market. So this is very unique about this program and very important, because now we're not talking only about credit, but we're talking really about an asset and financial paper that will be will have the UCS backing the paper and can be used afterwards for all these ESG finance that we talked about before. So what are the opportunities because of this degree? So right now, it's a possibility to access ESG instruments. So this works not only for forest landowners that can have this certified, that can have these the ecosystem service measured and value, and they can consider this really as a financial asset for themselves, for their company's balance sheet, but also to use as a ESG instrument. It's also a way to meeting environmental and social commitments, because once you have a program that is designed in a way that it has environmental benefits for itself, for its nature, but also has social benefits because it's incentivizing, it's generating income, it's generating social development in the region that will receive the money, because a big part of the revenue from the credits will stay in the community. This is a very important aspect of the BMV program. And after this is all certified and it's part of the BMV program, BMV will monitor this. And we as SGS, for example, will verify their achievements. So if a company will invest in UCS to meet their environmental and social commitments, they will have the certainty that there will be a governance system looking for this. It's a way also that to transform the forest in actual financial assets, because after it is certified, we have now a monetary value attached to the forest, attached to the UCS that the forest is producing. So this will later be used as a way to engage or to qualify an operation, a sustainability linkage operation, because it will be linked to forest conservation. And also, this is a program that is well established to help combat deforestation and increase environmental resilience. So in Brazil, for example, this is the biggest source of GHG emissions, it's deforestation. So when a company is investing in a product like this, they're actually complying with Brazilian targets in the Paris Agreement, and also mitigation efforts from that we need all over the world. So it's actually a financial incentive to preserve, because preservation today, it has costs to make sure that the forest will be preserved, that the forest, that there won't be invasion, or there won't be illegal extraction of the forest, and these cost money. So we need to have instruments like these to generate revenue for this service that is being provided as a forest ecosystem services. So this is what UCS can help. So I started talking about how UCS is a methodology that comes from the scientific aspects, but it also, BMV developed a product that comes from the scientific aspects, goes through all these methodological steps to make sure it is additional, to make sure there's no leakage, and aspects that we usually look for in carbon credits, and it complies with that. But we have an extra layer here. It's the possibility of using really as a financial asset in the stock exchange market, being used as a financial instrument. So this is what we were trying to explain and show to you today. And just to be, for my last slide, I just brought a couple of the indicators that the strategy, when we talk about all your you have these sustainability commitments, or you have sustainability ESG indicators that a private company needs to comply. And there's a lot of ESG indicator aspects that are measured in this program and can be disclosed afterwards. So there is for environmental, I think it's more obvious. For conservation, maintaining reservoir, biodiversity, which is very, very important, because here we're talking about conserving native forests. We're talking about not losing another hectare of native forests, and we need to preserve these. So these are all indicators that a company that is investing on this program can later disclose and put in their reports as a sustainability achievement of themselves. And also social, there's food production, there's regional development, income generation. So there's a lot of aspects. And for governance, the one that I would like to talk about is the stakeholder consultation and the stakeholder participation in this. As I talked before, there's a public hearing since the beginning of a project development, and the landowners and the people of the forest and the community that are around these forest areas that they need more economic options, they are part of this since the first step. So this is very important when talking about sustainability aspect and stakeholder engagement and stakeholder participation.
Eu só tenho a agradecer por poder participar desse projeto. Que isso é uma realização do sonho do meu pai. E é isso que nós precisamos, de consciência de todos que compram um produto. Saber de onde que ele está vindo, se aquele local está sendo preservado. Essa árvore em pé aqui e essa floresta em pé, ela vai valer muito mais do que ela deitada.
No começo éramos conhecidos como os malucos, né? Éramos falando de crédito de carbono e falando de sustentabilidade, mata em pé, e as pessoas falando nós precisamos comer. E se existe uma possibilidade de remuneração para que você produza, para que você tenha qualidade na sua vida, qualidade na sua casa. Porque o que nós mais vemos é a questão do êxodo rural. Hoje estou nessa região, na região de Diamantino, onde a nossa família é agricultora, onde nós produzimos e da terra colhemos e da terra vem do nosso sustento. Este é um momento onde eu vejo que os agricultores podem ser reconhecidos. Eu acredito que você possa também ser uma das pessoas que auxilie que a madeira, que a árvore, que o ecossistema permaneça saudável.
É a dignidade do ser humano de estar aqui na floresta, produzir e ser remunerado pela preservação, que é mais uma atividade dele, seria mais um produto dele.
O que é a sustentabilidade para a gente, né? É você conseguir integrar a parte social, ambiental e econômica, de uma maneira que esse tripé auxilie na produção de ativo ambiental, que no caso a gente produz a UCS, e a partir disso trazer uma dignidade para as comunidades locais e regionais.
Eu estou aí desde aqui no Mato Grosso desde 80 e sempre preservando a natureza, trabalhando e preservando principalmente a água. E o Brasil Mata Viva é recente para nós aqui. Trabalhei sempre na terra, sempre preservei, olhando a natureza, cuidando de tudo, dos rios. Pode ir lá, qualquer um lá, cidadão, pode lá ver os meus corguinhos lá, os meus rios lá, são todos eles tratados, todos eles. Em 1982, tivemos o privilégio de adquirir essa área na margem do Rio Claro, que por si só já diz tudo, clara, águas cristalinas. Conseguimos uma nascente de água cristalina exemplar. E hoje o nosso projeto é turismo ecológico, bordeaux, querendo que essa Amazônia seja uma Amazônia sustentável, com o turismo e com a preservação ambiental.
Today I had the chance to spend time with these producers, hearing about their commitment to conservation here in Mato Grosso, Brazil. There is a strong movement from these producers who wish to support the conservation efforts that we all wish for, following the important ESG principles that are increasingly more important to all of us as individuals, as companies, and as societies. Now I'd like to turn this over to Alessandro Umbellino, one of the co-founders of BMV, to further elaborate on this innovative private sector-based solution which they have created down in Brazil. Alessandra, over to you.
Thank you, Todd Chapman. That's a pleasure being here and share with the road this unique asset that brings the end-to-end solution, bringing that safety and a nature-based asset based on a payment of environmental service, and that can tangibilize the 27 ecosystem service, such as hydrological flow, climate regulation, fauna, flora, quality of soil, food production, and social development in one asset. And the question is how it's made. So it's a very simple and at the same time sophisticated way. First, the farmer signing. Second, the inventory happens. So the BMV team comes along with the science partner, UNESP, which is the university recognized for carbon sink and originates the inventory on that place, the biodiversity and those 27 service that is in that area. And then the registration happens. We have created an innovative way with the regulation and the compliance that it enables this title being registered on the fifth largest stock exchange in the world, which is B3. And the final step, issuance the token. The token that brings the blockchain in all this transparency and the safety through the process. And we are here to share that preservation with economic logic. And we will introduce the financial instrument later on with Mariana. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Alessandra, for that explanation. You know, I've had the privilege of going up into the Amazon with BMV to meet with some of these producers. And they're so enthusiastic about signing up for this because they see it as a way to develop the financial resources they need to promote conservation. It was explained to me by many farmers that it's very costly for them to be able to conserve the areas that they are conserving. And so by creating this mechanism, this financial instrument, it has allowed these landholders to conserve the very land that they are hoping to conserve for all of us. So Mariana, how about if you tell us a little bit more about that? Over to you.
Thank you for being here. Let me introduce myself first. My name is Mariana. I am the head of global operations at BMV, responsible for structuring green financial operations. BMV is pioneer issuing green CPR in the market. Green CPR is a financial instrument established in the Brazilian market. It is similar to a future contract that carries a commitment of delivering environmental assets. In our case, the asset is UCS, the Sustainability Credit Unit. BMV Green CPR promotes biodiversity preservation and voluntary compensation, not only covering the environmental aspect of the operation, but also the social impacts. Additionally, it encourages the use of standard governance criteria. We can see our clients retrieving preferential payment terms or accessing financial based on carbon reduction targets, disclosure of social impacts, and ESG progress. As this green CPR is backed by UCS, and the UCS selling process at our platform is conducted in a such way as to ensure transparency and traceability of the proceeds, we can ensure and demonstrate the funding received is redirected to the local community and producers. We understand that social development and the involvement of different actors are important for a viable climate change solution. Our company is able to provide to our clients a safe report that has been verified by a third party, helping them to achieve SDGs target, positive impacts in climate change, and as well as sustainability performance. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much. And, you know, it really is interesting how BMV has created this product that is listed on the Brazilian Stock Exchange and linked it integrally with the financial institutions. It can be used as security for debt in Brazil. And this makes this product even more interesting to the producers. So it's all about incentivizing producers for conservation. And this is a mechanism that is working. Now, this process is very much involving scientific analysis. It involves ecologists, it involves institutions that are helping BMV ensuring that the conservation that is promised is actually enacted. And so we're very happy to work with environmental companies and experts on the ground who can provide that kind of certainty and guidance to the producers. So one of these, I'm very happy to introduce João from Sustentec to give us more information about some of the technical aspects that BMV is implementing through this procedure. João, please tell us a bit more about your involvement in this process.
Hi, Todd. It's a pleasure being here. We are an environmental consulting company in Brazil responsible for the Noronha Zero Carbon Program. Fernando de Noronha is a World Heritage Site. It's a top-class tourist destination and occupies the top rankings of the most beautiful islands and beaches in the world. But it wants also to be recognized as a worldwide sustainability showcase. And for that, its Zero Carbon Program that has been launched this year presents 21 strategies for meeting neutral emissions by 2050, among them solar energy, electrical vehicles, fleet, and sustainable aviation fuels. However, approximately 50% of the island emissions will have to be offset. And the best way studied for that was the Sustainability Credit Units, the Brazilian UCS. These credits will be generated by conservation units within the island itself, and for the first time that I know, through the environmental services provided by the marine ecosystem. In addition to neutralizing emissions, this will bring revenue to the island, thanks to the efforts carried out by conservation agencies, public authorities, concessionaries, private companies, and also the local community. The fact that the UCS use blockchain technology and are backed by financial assets enables the creation of an environmental coin circulating within the island. And this can happen through cashback systems in services such as airline tickets, accommodations, and restaurants. All Noronha visitors will be able to neutralize their ecological footprint and cooperate with the preservation of this natural paradise. And all of this has already been started by big companies operating there, being the Fortress of Noronha, the first building on the island to use UCS to offset its emissions, obtaining the BMV certification and becoming carbon neutral right in the first phase of the Noronha Zero Carbon Program. Thank you, Todd. It's a pleasure being here.
Thank you so much, João. What a great example of how this new mechanism is being used by very delicate environmental areas within Brazil. I haven't had the privilege of going to Fernando de Noronha, which is a beautiful set of islands off of the northeast coast of Brazil. But it's an example of how working together with conservation groups, with businesses, with tourism agencies, that using this new mechanism in Brazil can be used to finance conservation. Thank you very much, João. That's a great example. And to give another outstanding example of how this new method for financing environmental conservation, we're very glad to have Claudia, the managing director of Starbucks Brazil, a company that's well known for its commitment to the environment. And we're really thrilled to have this partnership with Starbucks in Brazil to promote conservation efforts. Claudia, thank you very much for being with us. Tell us, how does this fit in with Starbucks Brazil's strategy in Brazil?
Hi, Todd. Hello, everybody. Thank you. Thank you for having me with you today and being able to share our enthusiasm. And also, I think, the main goal is to get everybody involved, right? So once again, my name is Claudia. I'm the managing director for Starbucks Brazil. And this topic, I'm so involved with it, and being able to connect on this topic is so relevant in what we do. Because at Starbucks, our goal is to inspire and nurture the human spirit, one person, one cup, and one neighborhood at a time. And when it comes to the environment, we're committed to impacting positively all the communities and regions in which we're present. In 2020, Starbucks made a commitment for a resource-positive future, which means to give more than we take from the planet. This way, we formalized our environmental goals to halve carbon, water, and waste footprints by 2030. Now, these goals are grounded in science and also in our Starbucks mission and values, which we share every day and try to live by the best we can every day. The company continues to work to achieve its goals in our sustainability commitment for 2030. And in Latin America and the Caribbean region, we continue to honor this commitment by protecting the planet we share and improving our regional sustainability actions. With that in mind, we all seek ways to get there. And it's a great pride that we announced this partnership between Starbucks Brazil, BMV, and BV Bank for the issue of the first green private commercial notes in the financial market, worth 20 million reais. The green private commercial notes are new products in the Brazilian financial market that came under law in the year of 2021. And this transaction, it involves a whole ecosystem. It involves players from the financial system, from the capital market, from retail, and from the environmental sector. Really, we all have the same interest, which is having a positive environmental impact via conservation. And this is the word that we all have to really pay attention to. It's via the conservation, right? Through protection of all natural resources, job creation, and sustainable food production. And it's this balance that I think we all seek in maintaining what we do, but doing it the best way we can together. So this is how it works. So BV, a Brazilian bank, granted 20 million in credit to Starbucks Brazil for ESG use in initiatives in our existing stores. The brand then allocated part of this credit to acquire the sustainability credit units, an ESG environmental bond on Brazil Stock Exchange. This will fund the conservation of about 350 square kilometers of forests, including the maintenance of flora, fauna, soil, and water resources, whilst also being responsible for capturing 26 tons of carbon a year. These sustainability credit units are issued by BMV and were developed as a bond to be acquired on the stock exchange, just like commodity bonds as we have for rice or coffee. So it's there, it's available. And I think this is the great moment that we live in, is that we have the mechanisms to broaden access to making the right thing. And it's the first time that a financial operation is designed for the economic expansion of a company, in this case, Starbucks Brazil. And it's made possible through the investment in forest conservation. So it's the first time that the conservation of a forest is used to promote economic activity. And our goal in all of our operations, our activity, is to be more and more sustainable. In Starbucks, through South Rock, the brand's licensed operator in Brazil, we'll make use of the remaining credits in other sustainable initiatives, seeking to reduce the environmental impact of our stores and engage the commitment of our partners, how we consider our employees, our customers, and our communities. And again, this is the beauty of being able to share these good practices, because we want to engage everybody and show them new ways. And this is why I'm so proud to share all that we're doing. This partnership is a way to continue our efforts focused on sustainability and ESG in Brazil, and it is in line with the United Nations Sustainable Development Goal number 13, which is focused in actions against global climate change. So, it's the right partnerships, working together, innovating to amplify the message, and more importantly, bring the change. And that change, it's the local and it's the global impact that we can all have. So thank you for leading the way. And obrigada, as we say in Brazil. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Claudia. I can't think of any better way to conclude our time together than to hear of how these new innovative financial conservation units in Brazil are promoting great practices by visionary companies like Starbucks Brazil to unite their desire for reducing their carbon footprint or their environmental footprint, and then linking it directly to conserving 350 square kilometers of Amazon rainforest. This is a beautiful example of the kinds of things that are possible when innovation, business, and the right regulatory climate come together. So I'd like to thank everyone for their participation today as we gave a Brazilian solution that is working, that is active and now ready for greater international participation, that truly does make supporting the environment everyone's business. So I'd like to thank the International Chamber of Commerce and all of our participants for making this opportunity a reality. And we look forward in Brazil through BMV and other well-meaning institutions to promote conservation in an economically and environmentally sustainable way. Thank you very much for participating. Best wishes.
Você, jovem, é isto aqui que nós temos a responsabilidade de guardar para você. Esta é a nossa floresta, essa é a nossa natureza viva, preservada. Isto é conservação da natureza. Bem-vinda à Amazônia!